got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face. And I think we really have to put an emphasis on the players that are in our league right now. But I love to see the league growing. I think, adding these teams in Philly and Detroit, like, that's how amazing is that the league can grow. But how cool would it also be to have, like, a little bit expansion on the rosters? Like, let's focus on the teams that have everything set up right now, and maybe focus on the teams also that find excuses continuously to lack investment into their players.
WNBA players reject first CBA offer. 3 months ago, Kat Engelbert claimed to be optimistic about ongoing negotiations. I guess all that optimism has suddenly disappeared. Now, to be fair, this is not unusual. It's not unusual to see players reject the first offer they receive. But like I've told you guys before, this is going to be a tough negotiation for Kat Engelbert.
Is the WNBA on the verge of disintegrating? The players just turned down a new contract. Caitlin Clark's back is breaking from bearing the league, and expansion is blowing up. Let's examine the potential cancellation of the 2026 season and determine who is primarily at fault.
Kat Engelbert, I'm sure she thought that everyone was going to be thrilled with the expansion of the WNBA. I'm sure she thought the cities of Cleveland, Philadelphia, Detroit would be throwing parades welcoming unknown dump divers to their city. I'm sure she thought WNBA players would be doing something that they have never done before. Not complaining. I'm sure the dump diva thought, the players have been demanding more money, so I've got the perfect solution. We'll open 3 new dumps, which will give players the opportunity to play more games. That way, they'll almost be above the poverty line. This idea is great!
Let's begin by discussing what caused everything to blow up. The Players' Union's initial presentation for the upcoming collective bargaining agreement was delivered by the WNBA. Sounds typical, doesn't it? However, Phoenix Mercury player Sato Sabali didn't mince words. It was a slap in the face, as she put it. Let's be honest now. That goes beyond simple annoyance. Fire is that. Players feel offended and neglected as a result. Remember that this request was made immediately before the league's joyful announcement of expansion franchises in the Bay Area, Detroit, and Philadelphia. The WNBA was having a party. Players aren't very many. Sabali's remarks went beyond financial matters. She stated unequivocally that players demand improved facilities, additional roster spaces, and more investment in current teams. She is correct. Many franchisees continue to operate under hardship agreements, 10-day contracts, and overcrowded benches. We are presently adding 3 more teams. Thus, this is the question. Is the league developing too fast without taking care of its foundation? Is the hand that is finally feeding them being bit by players? Are you curious about the dangers of this situation? Take a look at what transpired in 1994 with Major League Baseball. It was a fantastic season. The fans were thrilled. Teams competed with one another. Then the labor strike came. The postseason was canceled. No World Series. Nothing but quiet. And supporters were furious. Only because of McGuire and Sosa's steroid-fueled home run pursuit did baseball take years to recover. Now picture the WNBA experiencing that. Here's the issue, though. Baseball has a century-old history, a devoted following, and generations of fans. The WNBA hasn't arrived yet. To be honest, it's only now beginning to pick up steam. And Caitlin is the foundation of most of that, Clark. There is no assurance that viewers will return, that networks will remain in operation, and that there will be no historical legacy to rely on in the event that the WNBA goes on strike. A miscalculation of this magnitude cannot be afforded by the league. That is the high stakes. What would happen, then, if both sides got involved? This may sound like a heated take, but it's accurate. The league is the reason why the WNBA isn't expanding. Caitlin Clark is the reason it is expanding. She has a lot of games. She sells out of her jerseys. ESPN wants to spend more because of her. That isn't rudeness. That's the truth. However, this is what makes it brittle. Every single one of this might vanish in an instant. That entire momentum will be lost in an instant if Clark is wounded, if she chooses to leave for Europe, or unrivaled, if she grows tired of taking hits every game without any protection. It's like erecting a skyscraper on one steel beam. Appears powerful until it isn't. The players believe they have power now, and perhaps they do, but one woman is mostly responsible for that power. And that's risky since the entire deck of cards falls if Clark steps. Is it fair number? Is it accurate? Of course. The thing is this. The athletes aren't merely moaning for amusement. They are reading remarks and attending media days. Sydney Carlson and Sophie Cunningham went public. We have a right to fight for a just portion of the company we founded. The league's size is expanding. The number of attendees has increased. The ratings have increased. There's a new media deal on the way. Why not get compensated then? But here's the flip side. The WNBA has yet to turn a profit. It hasn't made a profit in its nearly 3 decades in business. So, where is the money meant to come from when players demand million-dollar salaries and cutting-edge facilities? The reality is complex. Are athletes underappreciated? Naturally. Do they contribute to the league's worth? Indeed. But are their requests even reasonable if the company is unable to meet them? Remember that next year, 80% of the players will be free agents. A lot of leverage, that is. Leverage, however, only functions if the base is strong enough to support the weight, isn't it? What did the WNBA have to offer, then? Although we don't have official figures, there are claims that the league gave top wages of between $500,000 and $750,000, which is a significant increase for a league where the previous maximum was $250,000. That is treble the best deal available right now. However, it is said that players desire more. Some are aiming for base incomes of at least $1 million. Some even expect superstar money, at least $2 million. Here's the problem, though. Last year, the league earned slightly over $60 million. That is less money than the merchandise sales of one mid-tier NBA team. The math is your responsibility. The league quickly falls bankrupt if everyone is earning $1 million each. The current query is whether the players are trying to uphold fairness, or are they risking the WNBA's very future. This week, Caitlin Clark experienced yet another moment of fame. She brought up the fact that players receive more money for winning the Commissioner Cup, a prestigious mid-season competition, than they do for taking home the WNBA title.
Take a moment to process that.
You receive $11,356 if you win the entire league. You receive $30,000 if you win a side cup competition. That's equivalent to receiving a raise. For taking home a raffle prize rather than an Olympic gold medal. Clark is criticizing the system in addition to playing basketball. She is correct. Start by demonstrating your appreciation for the league's top reward if you want players to take it seriously. What else is broken if it is? 3 new teams. This entails 45 additional players, 3 new cities, more coaches, staff, arenas, travel expenses, and yes, charter aircraft for everyone. That seems like progress, doesn't it? However, teams continue to struggle with locker rooms and practice gyms. There are still players who stay in subpar accommodations. Even now, some teams are unable to get playing time for skilled, healthy players due to roster conflicts, little. In just 4 years, the WNBA expanded the season by 12 games. It desires to attend 50 or 60 games. Do players feel prepared for that? Is the infrastructure in place? This is not a race. It's a marathon. Additionally, you risk exhausting yourself before you cross the finish line if you take off too quickly. Let's not overlook something crucial in this case. The WNBA is not truly necessary for WNBA players to thrive. That isn't overstating things. That is a fact. Many of these athletes already earn more money abroad than they do domestically. These players receive better benefits in addition to higher salaries in nations like China, Russia, Italy, and Turkey. First-class transportation, luxurious practice facilities, full-season housing, and in certain cities, security escorts. These women receive special treatment from overseas teams. Now give this scenario a further dimension. Unmatched. A new league. Media-savvy, player-backed, and designed with system disruption in mind. It provides more creative control, less politics, better remuneration, and shorter seasons. For celebrities, it's akin to Netflix telling them to forego the Hollywood studios. We will pay you top dollar if you come directly to us. Here is the truth, then. It's not a bluff to leave the WNBA if this new CBA falls through. It is a very strategic choice. Additionally, it is already taking place on a minor scale. Other leagues are being tested by the players. They are conversing. They're observing. Let's be truthful. Not all WNBA players have enormous net worths. That's simply the reality. Caitlin Clark is worth $10 million. Simple. Sabrina Ionescu. A Wilson, perhaps a few more.
Yes.
However, the majority of the league's players are not well known. Arenas aren't being sold out. There aren't millions of people watching them. What is fair, then? The maximum pay ranges from $600,000 to $750,000. Sounds good. Rookie deals often range from $150,000 to $200,000. Reasonable. Bonuses for all WNBA clubs, MVPs, or playoff victories. That's how performance is rewarded. However, it is unrealistic for players to believe they will all soon become millionaires. For the time being, the league must expand before it can provide benefits to all. That's just business. Otherwise, you're done. There is a ticking clock. A new CBA is required by the WNBA. The participants desire actual cash. The league wants to grow. All the supporters want is for the games to continue. Here's the risk, though. In the event that neither party budges, the 2026 season might be canceled. That isn't dramatic. That's the truth. And all Caitlin Clark has worked so hard to build this year is destroyed if that occurs. No progress, no games, and no future. It has happened to us before. Additionally, MLB's fan base and tradition do not support the WNBA. This may be the most important negotiation in the league's history. So, what are your thoughts? Do the players have the right to demand more? Or will the golden goose be killed soon? Tell us in the comments section. Please like, subscribe, and remember that the WNBA's future may be in jeopardy.